Over the past few years, there has been an increase in Masterpiece Transformer collectors. 2020 might go down in record as one of the years that added the most collectors ever. Now, I for one am excited about this because there are more people passionate about things that I'm passionate about and more people to share these experiences with. Today I want to talk about this surge of new collectors. I do want to hear from those of you who are new to collecting this year and just got started, what got you into it. And those of you that have been collecting for as long as me, 20 years or so, I want to hear what you think about it all too. We're going to talk about all this coming up. The first reason I believe there's a lot more Masterpiece Transformer collectors is because there's been a cultural shift in the last several years. Probably over the last decade at the most. But for me, I've been collecting for over 20 years and I've noticed this impact. It seems that media with blockbuster movies, TV shows have made this change occur. Back in the 90s, I remember trying to track down vintage Star Wars and Transformer stuff, and I would ask people and talk to them about toys. I'd get a lot of funny looks and a lot of confusion. Why is this adult guy looking for old toys? They didn't get it. But media has made this shift. Speaking of the 90s, back in the 90s, popular TV shows such as Seinfeld would talk about a lot of really cool stuff, such as Superman. Seinfeld never tried to hide the fact that he really liked Superman, and he collected some Superman stuff. It wasn't always in the forefront, it was subtly in the background, but it always was there. Fast forward to today, we have TV shows like The Bang Theory, and although they're not a good representation of actual collectors, it's still sort of a cultural shift brought about with this show and a few others. Now, we can say what we want about the Michael Bay movies. They were good and bad, but they brought in new collectors, and Bumblebee, I think, is going sort of in the right direction. We're going to see where the blockbuster movies go from here. Social media, such as YouTube and Facebook and others, have also played a huge role in attracting new people to collecting Masterpiece Transformers. There was a time where if you didn't know how to transform a Masterpiece Transformer, then you just had to live with not knowing how to transform it. If you could not figure something out and got stuck, oh well. Nowadays there are YouTube tutorials walking you through step by step, Facebook groups that share in all of the fun and joy and excitement of each release of figures and makes the whole collecting world so much more accessible. One of the biggest factors that does attract people to collecting Masterpiece Transformers is, of course, nostalgia. Nostalgia is defined as a sentimental longing or wistful affection for the past, typically for a period or place with happy personal associations. I don't know about you, but that sounds a lot like Transformers to me. Nostalgia also reminds you of a simpler time when things were fun and exciting and you had the whole future to look forward to. Masterpiece Transformers gives you the opportunity to relive those years the way it should have been, to appreciate the franchise you love with such amazing, almost perfect looking figures. It makes it so much more fun. Collecting Masterpiece Transformers is also something you can do for nostalgia purposes and still enjoy it with the rest of the family. At least something you could do with your kids. A lot of people get into collecting and they talk about their kids are interested in collecting and it's some way, shape, or form, a way to bond with them. I actually know a lot of people that have done that. I knew people that were around my age, but the kids actually collected Transformers and that got them into it and that got them back into collecting. There's a lot of people that's happened to them and that's exciting and it's fun, but it's a bit nostalgic at the same time. So next up, I kind of want to touch on this topic as best I can. But there's a lot of people that have more time and money in 2020 than they've had in a while. And so there's a lot of stuff going on with that. So with what's happened in 2020 and people having more time at home, that gets them to realize that they have time to enjoy a hobby or a passion or do something that they really enjoy. Now, this is what I hear from most people. Like right now, people are getting some extra money from one way or another, somehow, some way, and they are spending it on stuff like collectibles and on their hobbies. And whatever the intention of this money was, it's going to whatever people want to spend it on. Now, I personally have some friends that have their shops, the toy stores, the local toy stores, somewhat semi-local toy stores. They're all saying the same thing, that they are getting much, much higher prices for their stuff because stuff's going through the roof. It's getting harder and harder to come by, and that includes Masterpiece Transformers, simply because of the fact that there are so many people collecting that just weren't collecting a few months ago. The other reason that I'm seeing this is because of lack of new media. A lot of movies and TV shows that were planned earlier this year have been pushed back. With the pushback of new media and lack of new entertainment, people resort to watching older franchises. And I can tell you that I'm no stranger to binge watching old shows. I've been doing that myself this year. It's been a whole lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it. But I can see a lot more people doing it also. So another reason people are getting into collecting Masterpiece Transformers is because it has come to a new level of impressiveness. I have to say that I've been collecting all these years, and it blows my mind what some of these companies can put out, including Fans Toys, X Transbots, MMC, and others. These days, these figures are so amazing. They nail the aesthetic. They look like they walked off the screen. Both modes look amazing. They pull off some sort of magic with these figures these days. And the technology, the paint, the aesthetic. The transformations are a bit rough on a lot of them, but that's the price you pay to play. Even people who collected toys and were in the space and familiar with third-party and Masterpiece Transformers can remember a few years back where it wasn't as impressive. The figures weren't as great. They weren't looking like they walked off the screen. But they do today. But hey, I gotta tell you, I kissed a few frogs along the way myself. And another thing that I'm seeing that's getting collectors into collecting Transformers, maybe it's not Masterpiece, okay? Maybe it's not Masterpiece, but it's Legends. And it's mini masterpieces that get people in at a lower price point. You get an excellent aesthetic. It looks good. And I do have to say the same thing about Legends as I say about Masterpiece. A few years ago, they weren't that great. What's coming out right now is almost mind-blowing. And for that, people can enjoy it for a lot of reasons. So, some over half the price. Some are a bit too expensive. But these figures draw a lot of new collectors in because of the fact that it's a low price point, Ultra G1, nails the aesthetic, nails the look, and has a somewhat decent transformation. Yeah, a lot of people in my comment section tell me that they love collecting Legends. Now, after about 20 years of collecting, though, someone like myself can sort of get tired of Transformers. All of the time, getting a new Transformer, or the problem for me is getting the same Transformer 3 or 4 times. It is a little frustrating and can wear on you. I like to still collect vintage. I like to collect other lines. I keep myself busy with all that. I do have a Retro Wednesday video that I make each Wednesday talking about a retro toy line. It could be Transformers. But the one thing that brings me back is a Masterpiece Transformer release. Every time a Masterpiece Transformer is released from Fans Toys, X Transbots, some of the MMCs, I'm not hot on all of those, and some other ones, and some of the off-the-wall ones like Iron Trans and Transform Element and JX. There's a lot of new companies coming out nowadays, but every time I get my hands on a Masterpiece Transformer, I remember why I love collecting Masterpiece Transformers. They just feel so high quality, so high grade, match the toon aesthetic so well, and then to add it to my already existing collection and to just enhance my collection with each release is really a fun and exciting experience. Feel free to comment down below what you think is causing this awesome surge in new Masterpiece Transformer collectors. If you're new to collecting, I'd like to hear what brought you into it and what's keeping you in it, because hey, I do love Masterpiece Transformers and I love to share the passion with as many people as possible. Like, subscribe, and Tydirium Hanger out.